What should you actually eat? We talked so much about the problems of the modern world and the disgusting diets and everything they're putting into these foods and everything, and how difficult this is. Well, then what do you actually eat to improve your testosterone and also just your health and your longevity and everything else? Like what I said before, there's a few key items that I think are absolutely, you should add them into your daily routine. Number one, and my absolute favorite, is eggs. Eat 4 eggs every single day for the rest of your life. Say that with me. Eat 4 eggs every single day for the rest of your life. Say it one more time. Eat 4 eggs every single day for the rest of your life. 4 eggs has been somewhat, like, I don't know how accurate this is, but it's kind of like the amount, 4 eggs. It's kind of like the amount that will maximize the good cholesterol that you needed. Eggs are so easy to make. I don't know if you've ever made them, but literally all you need is get like a cast iron pan. Don't get the normal pan that your parents use. If it's got like this black kind of like look to it, like it looks like a modern, pan that they put on the stove, it's probably got fucking cancer, estrogenic Teflon. You don't want a non-stick pan. What you want is a pure stainless steel pan or a cast iron pan. You can buy them for like a few dollars on Amazon. If your parents have already got one, if it looks like it's pure stainless steel, it shouldn't be anti-stick or anything like that. It should like stick because it's literally just metal, right, that you're putting onto the stove, or the cast iron one. What you do is you get full fat butter that's got no other ingredients apart from just like the milk that it's made out of. The one that I specifically use is Lawpack, and it specifically has to be the one that's in like a brick kind of tinfoil packaging like this. If it's in a big plastic tubbing like this, not only is the plastic estrogenic, but then those ones usually have like bullshit seed oils. So for example, there's a Lawpack, the same company that I have, who have done a tub, and it's a spreadable one. My mum got me that one time thinking that, oh yeah, it's spreadable, Hamza will like this, and straight away I looked at the first word on the thing which said spreadable and I knew it was Coke. Guess why? Butter is fat, right? What fat do you know would be spreadable and soft? If you imagine the fat on your body, would that be spreadable? Think about the mass there. It wouldn't be spreadable, right? It would be kind of like this hard, kind of stodgy substance, right? If it's spreadable, what the fuck have they put in it? And so I turn over this box and aha! Rapeseed oil! Am I up there made a testosterone go ruin karna? I'm getting at that. I'm not actually getting angry at my mum, but I show it to my mum, and it's just kind of like annoying because it's, I don't know, it might have been somewhat expensive, a few pounds or something, and I'm just not going to have it, and she's not going to have it either, so it was just kind of wasted money. And I told her it specifically needs to be like the Lawpack or whatever one it is, but it's in like, the butter is in like this brick kind of shape, like that. And you look at it, look at the ingredient list, it's full fat, none of this bullshit of low fat butter, plant butters or anything, because all of that's got harmful chemicals, and usually it's in plastic packaging. When you get this one, it's just in tinfoil. And so you get that, literally just put some on the pan, like, I don't know, this amount. Don't be scared of having butter, only like little pussies think it's bad for you. I think it's very good for you. I think all of our, like, not all of our ancestors, but I do think our great grandfathers who were coming home to having like a massive steak, who had a handshake that would crush your hand, I believe they were all having a lot more butter than we were having. I don't believe the fat doctors who tell me that it's unhealthy. So I have like a fair, generous amount of it, and then literally just crack eggs directly into there and just move them around with like a wooden little spatula. Make sure it's not a plastic one because estrogenic. Literally just move them around till it looks like it's good enough. It's literally no skill involved at all. 4 eggs every single day. I personally find it better when I have 8. So when I have 8, this is like, should I tell you? Let's just say if my girl likes it when I have 8 instead of 4. There's a significant difference. When I have 8 eggs a day, I promise you, I get so many like erections in the middle of the night. It genuinely reminds me from when I was a teenager. I'm 25 now, so that stuff kind of went down a little bit. I genuinely feel like I'm a 16-year-old again when I have 8 eggs a day with a good amount of butter. Now every guy's like, wait, what? 8 eggs? We're full. So the brick butter like this happens. So yeah, literally, I'm not even taking the piss. 8 eggs is what really does it for me. And so my girl has this joke where she's like, oh yeah, let's go get you some eggs and everything. So you can just go and experiment with that. But I'd say at least have 4 up to 8 and have that pretty much every single day. The second thing is steak. Now, steak is quite like, for some people, they're just used to having steak. For me, it was always quite like this weird thing that I had never really considered having. It wasn't something that was ever like made in my household. And so the thought of going to a restaurant and ordering steak or even cooking it at home was always so weird for me. Slowly and like very slowly over time, I became more accustomed to it. So I remember being in Dubai. I lived there for a few months, and I went with a bunch of like friends at the time. We went like Mike Thurston, if you know him, I invited him as well. And we went to this like really fancy steak restaurant on the Palm in Dubai, like, this really expensive one, and they bring it all out, like these fresh cuts, and they cut you it and everything. Honestly, it was delicious. And I was like, damn, I might have been missing out on this. And there was one particular one that I liked, like a cut. So when you get steak, it's based on like what cut of the cow it is, because it tastes different. The one that I like is the rump. So rump steak, it's just kind of like, it's nice to eat. I don't know how to explain it, but like I like it compared to like the other styles. And I really liked it there. I ended up coming back and seeing that my gym that I go to, they serve it. And so for quite a long time, for like a solid month or so, I would go every single morning and get a steak and 2 eggs before my workout. And with nothing else, no sauce, no greens or anything like that. Literally just, I would even tell them, make it plain. Like I literally just want steak and 2 eggs. This is like my diet, by the way. I know it can seem like a little bit odd. Like for example, I'll go to the cafe, to the gym that I go to. And what I'll get is like, I specifically tell them like no greens, no sauce or anything. And it's not weird to do that. It's just like, the waitress, I'm telling, okay, can I have the steak please, medium rare with 2 fried eggs, and then no greens on that please, because they'll put like fucking edamame beans, which are estrogenic or some shit, or they'll put like barbecue sauce or whatever the fuck, like other brown sauce or whatever it is. And I tell them all that, and they're just like, oh, okay, no greens, no this. They're not like looking at you thinking like, oh, like, yo, you based, bro. Like they're not looking at you weird. So I got into this, and I've got to the point now where like, I actually really enjoy it, but there was always, when I'd have steak, I'd always cut off like the fatty bits. I always just because, I've grown up with like quite a fucking childish palate that like, if there's anything a bit weird in my mouth, I won't eat it. A lot of guys are like this because you haven't actually had real food. If you're somewhat of a fussy eater, if you won't eat anything that's got a bit of like grizzly bits, that's because you haven't actually had real food. Think about it. That's because you've had your mouth, your palate, your taste buds have genuinely been manipulated by the modern world, and now you'll only eat things that are like kind of like, how would you explain it, like ultra clean shaped, in the sense that like you'll eat a chicken nugget because it's a very clean consistency because it was made in a lab. But you won't eat like a real cut of meat because it's got like a little bit of like this grizzly bit here, a bit of fat here and stuff, and you won't eat that. What do you think your caveman ancestors were eating? What do you think your great-grandfather, the one with the handshake that would fucking crush your hand, what do you think he was eating? Was he just like, oh no dear, I don't like the fatty bits of the steak? Right? I thought this once when I was eating this. I'm in the gym eating this steak, and I'm eating around the fatty bit, and I'm just thinking to myself like, why the fuck am I not eating that? Because you know what? My ancestors would have ate that fatty bit, and I guarantee that's where their strength would have come from. Eating the fat of an animal, that's got to be super fucking healthy, really. Like, use your brain to think about it. Imagine in our survival mode, caveman ancestors, that's the part that would have been like so beautiful to eat. Probably taste even better, but it's just got like a different kind of texture than my childish palate that's been conditioned from chicken nuggets and, clean McDonald's fries that are all perfectly shaped has been sort of put off. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start eating it. So the way that I did it, instead of just eating like the fucking fat bit just by itself, I cut it in line with a bit of the normal meat, and I ate it, bro. It tasted delicious. I was like, what the fuck? Just because it felt a bit weird in my mouth, but it made the taste so much better with like having the fat inside of it. I'm a clean plate guy now. When I have steak, I will eat all of like the fatty bit, even if it's a bit like grizzly and stuff. I'll munch it like a caveman would. I guarantee this is where my recent like strength and like horniness has come from. Is that I'm just eating like the full fat cuts of the meat. No problem. So if you're somewhat of like a picky eater, I don't blame you because I was as well. But I guarantee you weren't naturally supposed to be like that. If you imagine if you had just grown up 10,000 years ago, would you still have been a picky eater? I highly doubt it. I guarantee your brain and your taste buds have been conditioned by the modern day because everything's made so perfect, because it's made in a lab, right? Everything's made so perfect. So you've grown up on having fucking like what's that fucking cereal called? Like Cocoa Pops and everything, where each one has been made in a lab to be perfect. So now when there's like a bit of meat, like for example, which is a little bit more grizzly and a little bit inconsistent, that really triggers you. Get into the habit of having like the full fat cuts of meat, how our ancestors would eat. Steak is fantastic for this. There's a passage from The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss, where he explains how he increased his testosterone. He says he had steak 3 times a day, by the way. So, and you know, someone can say, oh, but red meat's really bad. I don't give a fuck, bro. Fat doctor said it, I don't believe him. Whatever. I feel better when I eat it. Soon I'll have another blood test and we'll see like my results. If it seems healthy, okay, I'll go with it. If not, I'll make some adjustments. I don't care what any like doctor who I haven't verified, who isn't in the public eye, who hasn't been scrutinized by millions of people. I don't care what some hidden fat doctor or your government says about red meat. Seems to be nice for me. Number 3, nuts. Simple, just order some nuts. You buy them and they're always in plastic packaging, which is a bit annoying. And so you're getting some kind of estrogenic shit, you know, because it's like touching all the plastics and stuff. The company I buy them from doesn't have any plastics touching them at all. That's the company called Peace with the Wild. I've got a link in the description, which is to their the toothpaste, whatever it is. If you just go look at like the bottom part of my description, I've linked their site. You can just click on that link because it's an affiliate link, so I make money from this as well. And then on their site, you can look for like snacks, click on nuts, and you can order like the exact like nuts that you want, and it'll deliver to your house. I think it might be UK only, but you can have a look. And it comes in like paper packaging instead, so that's where I get them from. And full fat butter is what we spoke about. So do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.